I'm your host, Kim Jacobs, better known as the Balance Doctor. And all of our guests that come on, they're either people that have overcome some tremendous odds in their own lives as they balance this thing called life, or they're experts and they're here to share tips and strategies that will help you better balance and manage your life. Grab your virtual seats and let's get ready for some real, relevant, and relatable content on today's episode of The Kim Jacobs Show. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Kim Jacobs Show, where we're bringing balance to the world, one household at a time. How are you all today? How are you over there, Maiya Katherine?
I'm well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. I enjoyed our conversation backstage, even just prior to coming on today. And I'm excited about each of you all that are tuning in. We're going to be talking today about 8 things to break up with after you actually break up with someone, right? And I know I need to know these things because I don't know. I'm green. I'm like neophyte in this area here. So I really want to hear what you have to say, and I'm excited about it. You sound like you know what you're talking about over there, because I was like, what?
Yes, been there, done that kind of thing.
Okay. And wrote a book about it, right?
Exactly.
That's funny. Listen, as you all are grabbing your virtual seats, make sure you let us know where you're visiting in from as well. We'd love to be able to acknowledge you and also share your insight on what do you think are things you need to break up with when you break up with someone. I would love to hear your perspectives, and I have some perspectives too, but we'll talk about it. All right. So let's go ahead and get started today with our expert that's here today. She is a woman of many different hats. That she is an author, she's a speaker, emotional healing coach, and a spiritual teacher. And through her platform, which is called Blue Dragonfly Life, she creates books, courses, coaching programs, and speech content, all aimed at helping others heal emotional wounds and embody the highest and most abundant version of themselves. Yes. So she's helping us level up, y'all, right? Welcome, Maiya Katherine, to the Kim Jacobs Show.
Thank you so much. And thank you for having me. This is my second time here, and it's always an honor. So thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Thank you for being, that's funny. I don't know if you saw that. So my hair starts sticking up over here. This
okay.
My natural hair, right? And so today I did a whole science project. From y'all normally see it curly, but I actually blew it dry, and I was trying to spritz it and hot curl it, and so it's a whole thing happening over here.
You look nice. You look nice. The lipstick and the glasses, and you always look nice. So don't worry.
So you're beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
Thank you.
So now we got all of our compliments out of the way. Talk to us about just some of your backstory, because anytime you're writing a book of this magnitude, which is what we're talking about today, 8 things to break up with after you break up. So how we're going to heal, release the energy from old relationships to make room for some new beginnings in our lives. So when you write a book like this, I'm thinking that it may have come from something in your own history. So talk to us.
Thank you so much, Kim. And yes, as we were saying backstage, I say I alchemize things. I alchemize it all. That's the name of my podcast. And I basically, take the experience I go through and see if I can extract some wisdom from it, some discernment from it, and just use it to become a better version of myself. And in the process of doing that, if my wisdom can be of service to anybody else, I feel it is my responsibility to share it with the world. I believe it was Maya Angelou that had a quote on that. When you teach, or something to that effect, and she's one of my idols. So I believe that our wisdom doesn't belong to us. We are a collective, and when we share things with each other, we just help each other grow. So yes, this book came from my own heartbreak and my experiences after a big breakup after a few years ago in my life. Mm-hmm. And I, was able to follow a process after a while, after crying for a few weeks. And that process helped me release the pain of the past, release resentment towards the person, and put myself on a path to self-love, healing, and just falling in love with life again. And that's really what I wanted to convey with this book, is that, a breakup and ending is a new beginning in disguise. And if we're able to look at the experience with empowering, glasses, as opposed to disempowering glasses, we'll find that there's something we can use in there to just become the best that we can and continue living our life with joy. So for me, healing and inner joy and inner peace are the the pillars of life. And anything that I can share to help people achieve that, I will share.
I think that's great what you said, crying for a few weeks and then just kind of picking yourself up and saying enough is enough and going on. When you take that moment to pour out because you are upset or you're disappointed or hurt or sideswiped, whatever the emotion is that's associated with it, I think that it is normal to have some level of emotional, like, oh, I'm upset. I think that that's normal, but do you feel that's normal as well?
Absolutely. And that's something that I cover in the book as well, is the releasing of the need to be strong or appear strong. And then to honor the emotions, because I always say emotions never lie. It's what we do with the emotions that are important, but the emotions themselves need to be honored because they're messengers. They tell us if something is aligned with our values, and if it's not, if something is maybe good for us, or if it's not. So listening to your emotions and letting your emotions be is actually the first step of healing, acknowledging them. And when we try to just sweep things under the rug and try to be strong too quickly, we don't let these emotions process. And as a result, they have to go somewhere, right? So they become knee pain, back pain, depression. They lodge themselves because that energy has to alchemize itself somewhere. So first part of healing is the breakdown, is the rock bottom. In my first book, when I came here, the first chapter was called Rock Bottom. And that was the first chapter for a reason, because usually sometimes the breakdown is the breakthrough, is the beginning of the breakthrough. So it was important for me to highlight, and thank you for that question, that the first thing is to honor your emotions and to let the emotions be. Sometimes you say you have to feel it to heal it, right? You have to feel
You
it
have some perfect sayings, right? And you have to feel it to heal it.
to heal it.
Doesn't
Exactly.
break down and break through. You gifted over there.
So absolutely, we should not, try to block or stop the emotions for coming. Sit with it, and hopefully, have supportive people around you to help you with it, or go seek help. Sometimes just dealing with the emotions are overwhelming. So you seek help if you have to, but it's okay to have the emotions. It's okay to take the time to go through the emotions. In one of the chapters, I discussed how for a long time, a bunch of stuff was just in the garage. I didn't feel the strength to deal with them, and they just stayed there. And sometimes inaction is the best thing you could do to heal. So definitely, thank you for bringing that up. But it's an essential part, and it's an honorable part. There's nothing bad about falling apart, as long as you're able to get yourself back up in due time.
Good advice. Good advice. So you guys listen already. We have some great advice being shared by Maiya Katherine. And we're going to learn specifically what are some specific things to do to make clean breaks. And we're going to talk about that later throughout the show. But whenever we're dealing with the initial shock of it all, what I'm hearing you say is it's okay to have some level of emotion because you're hurt, you're disappointed. And so you have that, you got to get it released some kind of way. Because if not, then it's going to do some reverse possible damage to some of the insides of our body, whether it's the stress factor impacting us physically, emotionally, spiritually, and definitely physically, because a lot of times stress can damage your heart and your body.
Absolutely. And so I have a saying that I say all the time: emotional health is mental health, is physical health, and is even spiritual health. It's all connected. And when we don't take care of the emotions, you know, there is a physical, um there's a physical aspect of it. So if you don't take care of a wound, for example, it, you know, festers, and it, you know, it can decay and stuff like that. The same way, if you don't take care of your emotions, they will decay, and they will manifest themselves, because emotions want to be healed, you know, healed. Emotion wants to be healed. So they will manifest themselves through you, just for example, blowing up on somebody that didn't do anything to you. I think
Right.
they said somewhere, if you don't heal your wounds, you will bleed on the people who didn't cut you.
That's
Something like
right.
that.
That's not fair because that's not who
That's
did this to you, and
that's
they
not
deserve a clean start, an opportunity to be in the relationship with you
exactly.
as a
But if
free.
you, yeah, if you don't feel, if you don't deal with the emotions, they will deal with you.
I'm glad you said that. Yeah, and I was looking at the quote that you were saying from Maya Angelou. One that I found says, "Do the best that you can until you know better, but then when you know better, do better."
You do better.
That's one of our famous quotes.
Yes, I love her. I love her.
Yeah, yeah. So when we're talking about dealing with breaking up, sometimes I wonder, do people always, well, most of the time, some people are sideswiped because you don't know that that's even a possibility, that breakup
Mhm.
is in the equation or in your future. That so what are your thoughts on that, as far as people that necessarily aren't prepared for a breakup, but they find themselves there?
I know. A lot of times that is where the pain comes from, is from not expecting it. And to a certain degree, sometimes looking back, there may be things that everybody can see that, you know what, I kind of went gloss over this thing and I glossed over that thing. I actually posted something yesterday saying, how do we forgive a broken heart after it ignored red flags? And
Hmm.
that was a post I had on social media yesterday, because a lot of times there are red flags, but I said, like I said in the post, the heart sees it as green. The heart has that mechanism sometimes where it just cancels color out and just puts whatever color it wants. So your reason, your intuition are saying the flag is red, and your heart is like, no, it's green.
No, it's
So
not. It's not
a
red.
lot of
It's white.
it's green, and just like, you know, and just go with your heart. So sometimes it's difficult afterwards to deal with shame and guilt and regret. And but you know, sometimes you are blindsided. So then what do, you know? So the first thing is, I always tell people, there's a foundation, a spiritual foundation that helps with those things. And it doesn't have to be religious. You know, some people are spiritual, and
Right.
some
And what we
people
want.
just have that. Yeah, some people don't have any faith, but they have that faith in life or in themselves.
Hmm.
So that foundation, you know, usually implies that life is for me, you know, or God is for me, or whatever you want to call it, but something is for me.
That's right.
And I give the example of, you know, when you cut, your body is already programmed to bring everything back together, to heal, right? So why
Hmm.
is that? So if the body is programmed for that, then the emotions are programmed for that, and the emotional self is programmed for that. So that's kind of what I go for. So remembering that, you know, will help you start saying, okay, this is not the end. This is not the end, and there can be life after this. You know,
That's
that's like one of the first things that help you breathe a sigh of release and have a little hope that this is not the end. This is not the end. So once you have that step, you know, then of course you try to get support from friends and family, professionals, you know, and then the third step I would say would be to ask, you know, the pain, what are you here to teach me? What are you here to teach me? What can I learn from that? And it doesn't mean pain is the only way to learn. And it doesn't mean that you have to learn through pain. You know, that's something that I talk about all the time with people. When you've been in a lot of wounding in your life, it is possible to get to a point where you learn through positive experiences, and
right.
you don't have to learn through pain. However, once you experience it though, one of the steps to heal from that is to say, what can I learn from that? And there's always something to learn. There's always something to learn. And then I guess once you learn that, the fourth step will be self-love. Self-love is always the answer. Before jumping into doing something else, going to somebody else, take the time to be with you.
Mm,
Take the time to learn who you are. Take the time to do the things that you love. Take the time to give yourself what you want others to give you.
right.
And then I guess the final step will be just enjoy life. And you could have your relationship goals, hashtag relationship goals, but you know, just remember that your relationship with the divine, with self, is the main relationship, are the main relationships,
Most
and
important one.
everything else is gravy. So once you follow those 5 steps, I think you're on a good path to reclaiming your inner joy, reclaiming your inner peace. And then, deal with things as they come, because things will always come. But once you establish your foundation with the healing and the inner work, you're able to deal with things less painfully, and with more flow, instead of going against the current. And that's really the point. There's no book that's gonna teach you how to never have pain,
That's right.
and
That's
never have, exactly. But you could do the inner work that fortifies you physically, mentally, emotionally, so that when the pain comes or the uncertainty comes, you're able to say, okay, I see you,
hmm
and let's I can work through this. I can work through this.
Well,
That's really the
I think for me, I can speak only for myself. Whenever you've experienced, and I don't know about other people and how you all deal with things like this, but once you've experienced a death of a child, then for me, it's like everything else is like I can okay. It is now, people say it is what it is, which I really don't like saying it is what it is. But at
yeah.
the end of the day, if if I can deal with knowing that the child that I gave birth to came through my body, lived on this earth, and walked around, had a whole life, is not here on this earth with me anymore, and then something else like I just want to be with multiple people, or I want to deal with this, with fill in the blanks for whatever your breakup situation is, then guess what? All right, God bless you, saints, and go about your business. And yes, it may be hurtful, but at the end of the day, I would rather keep my life versus being in the middle of drama and sagas because of stuff that you don't even know is happening in your life, and you get
Yeah,
more.
yeah.
So it could
Yeah.
be it's God sparing your life in some instances. So in my
Mhm.
opinion, I think you should be grateful that thank you, Lord, for
Yeah.
me and sparing my life.
Yeah, and I'm sorry again for your loss. That's for you to still be able to put yourself out there to help people, atomizing that pain. It's so commendable. So thank you for sharing that, and again, peace and comfort, um, in your experience and in your loss. And so, yeah, in the sense of what you were saying, sometimes going through pain give us perspective on other pains. Sometimes going through pain make us realize how strong we are. Sometimes we don't know how strong we are until being strong is the only option, I think the quote says. And so it gives you perspective on the next uncertainty that comes in. Say, oh, okay, you know what, I dealt with worse, like you said, and
Right.
again, nothing compares to that, nothing compares to what you went through. But pain does give us a perspective, so that when drama and everything starts coming, you're like, you know what, I've dealt with things more serious, and I understand now that my health and my emotional and physical health, mental health is more important. And that gives you perspective on what to make a big deal out of and what not. So,
Yeah.
thank you for sharing. But I think, yeah, I agree with you.
And even when you're talking about the aftermath of breaking up, which I know I have some specific things we're going to talk about even further, but when I think about breaking up, I think about people that say, at all costs, they want to remain in a situation or in a relationship. And so I want to know what are your thoughts, and anybody, even in the studio audience, with people that would rather just let's stay together no matter what, against all odds type of situation, versus just breaking up and calling it a clean break and going about your business. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, thank you. Great question. Good question. And in the book, I talk about one of the, so I have 8 things to break up with, right? I'm like, the last thing you want after a breakup is to break up, but that is the path, right, to freedom. And one of the things that I talk about is, even after a breakup, holding on to certain items that were significant for the relationship. And I
Okay.
said, ask yourself, why am I holding on to that item? And it's the same type of question. Why am I holding on to a relationship that it doesn't leave me with joy or peace? But I always say, like, the human being has different needs that are met sometimes and that are not apparent to a lot of people. I
Hmm.
remember going to Tony Robbins' Unleash the Power Within a long time ago. And that's one of the things that kind of started my emotional healing. But I
Hmm.
remember going there, and he was talking about the needs, and that some people will, for example, stay in a horrible relationship because for them, the need to call themselves Mrs. So and so was more important than the need to be happy. And I think, remember him saying that even when you don't see a benefit to the person, mentally, emotionally, subconsciously, there is a need that's being met, because once there is nothing that's being met, the person will automatically come out.
That's
So
right.
sometimes it's hard for us to look at friends and family members and see on the outside everything looks horrible and they're not moving. It's usually because there's something maybe they're not even aware of that's being satisfied by that. Or also, too, sometimes people seek the familiar. So growing up, they were used to mom staying 50 years married, 40 years married, but being
Yes.
miserable, right? But it
Right.
just have that title. I was married 13 years. I'm married 14 years, 15 years, 50 years. My grandparents were 50 years. And before they passed away. And sometimes that title alone is like, I gotta have that title too. And I saw my mom miserable and she stayed. So there's a lot of different reasons, and a lot of them are emotional reasons. And I guess if for the person in that situation, I would say it is possible to change that story. It is possible to reorder what is important to you and put self-love and mental health and those things on top of the list, more than being called Mrs. So and so. What is it costing you? What you're getting from it, what is it costing you? Is it costing you your health? Is it costing you relationship? Is it costing you self-respect? Because at the end of the day, no matter what people tell you, one of the worst things and most debilitating things is when you know you're not respecting yourself. And it's that guilt and that shame that eats you from the inside. But there is always a need that's being met. And sometimes it's hard when you see somebody, but I guess you just have to be there to support them.
Hmm.
And just, because sometimes when you push people away from something, that's when they really feel pulled towards it. So they really want to be with that person. And if it's you, just ask yourself, what is it costing you
That's good.
for to be in a relationship where one need, maybe one important need is met, but what else is it costing you? And that's the question, hopefully, that will start that realization that maybe it's time to go.
Yeah, I think this is great dialogue what we're having here. And so everybody, please, in the studio audience, tell us your thoughts as well. How have you handled breakups in the past, and maybe some of the advice that you share with others can other people can benefit from just some of the tips that you also share in the audience. And obviously, I would love to see every couple that gets together stay together. So I'm definitely not
Me
endorsing
too.
breaking up at all. If
Yeah, me too. Me
if
too.
there's a way to get
Mhm.
some counseling and get some spiritual advice or whatever the
Mhm.
case may be for you and your mate, whether it's your spouse or your boyfriend or significant other, whatever. The point is, then do whatever you can to stay together if it's
Yes.
possible. I definitely think once you're married, if you can stay together, it's ideal. But if
Right.
somebody is just a boyfriend or a girlfriend and you're like, we're definitely not fit for each other, then get gone. And it's just
Exactly.
let's end this because this is not working favorably for you or for me. So at
Yes.
the end of the day, we're not even committed to each other at that level. That's why well, I have theories on certain things, certain I won't go too far because then you start feeling really bad if
Yeah,
certain
yeah, yeah.
happened, and then you're
Yes,
like,
yes.
oh my gosh, I need this man or I need this woman, and
I
some
know.
soul ties have happened and some things that make it more difficult to walk away.
You speaking my language. I'm in my own spiritual journey. I've learned about those things too, and they're real. They're real. They're real. And it's sometimes we don't think maybe mentioning those things is important, but there might be this one person that hears soul tie or something, and that goes, and looks it up today just from this conversation, and that opens up a whole world of things for them, and they start understanding, okay, this is deeper than I thought, and maybe I should approach the situation differently. So thank you for bringing that up, because it's like I said, the there is the unseen world of emotions, of spirituality that sometimes get pushed aside because you're just using logic, right? What makes sense,
Right.
you're using science, what I can see through my senses. But there are other things in play as well. And if we're aware of it, then we can fix it. So
That's
thank you for bringing that up. I'm you speaking my language. It's
Yeah,
cool.
I just know if people like people already, and then you go to steps further in certain levels of positioning. I personally believe that how we position ourselves, and that's whether you're married or single. If you
Mhm.
put yourself in certain positions in circumstances, then certain things are going to automatically happen. And that's none of us are exempt from something
No.
happening because we're human beings. So
Yep.
it's like, well, I'm. I mean, there's a God. I'm not God. So I know one thing. I can just say that I need to make sure that I'm not in certain positions, or
Right.
stuff will pop off. You know what I'm saying? And that's
Right. Right.
so you
Yep.
just be mindful of how we position ourselves,
Right.
and hopefully that'll make somewhat of a difference, at least in a little
Hopefully.
area.
Yes.
All right. Okay. Okay. I think we're having some good conversation. How do you feel over there, Maya?
I feel great, and I'm so grateful. Each time I'm always in awe of the way you just come up with the questions that are so relevant. So I don't know. I'm just very honored. I just feel it, and I'm very grateful right now. And you definitely know what you're doing. So
Oh, thank
for
you.
sure, you're the professional for sure.
I
So
appreciate
thank
you.
you for the wonderful questions and follow-ups. And I'm happy, I'm grateful, and I'm enjoying this. Thank you so much.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you for being my guest. And listen, for those of you that are interested in actually starting your own show or your own virtual live streaming podcast or whatever, different people call it different things, know that we have a group training that's starting very soon. And we only take 5 students. So you can grab your seat as quickly as possible. And the way that you would do that is reaching out to me at kim@thebalancedoctor.tv. And you can also call me at 704-944-3534. And if you are interested in being a part of our upcoming training class, reach out to us right away and secure your seat. And that group dynamic makes a huge difference. You'll learn how to identify the focus of your show and who's going to be your guest, and how to make sure you have the right equipment, and how to get some sponsorships surrounding your show, all kinds of different topics on a 6-week journey that we'll go on. And at the end of it, you'll also have a graduation. We'll be able to launch and present you to the community with your new show. So make sure you take advantage. 704-944-3534. All right, so let's talk about the fact that you say a clean break is important. What does that look like? A clean break. Describe it.
So that's when a little controversy and heated debates have started about the book, as I was telling
Okay.
you, because in the book I talk about making a clean break, and a clean break means you just not with the person physically, emotionally, mentally, and around your environment. So I know some people, for the sake of kids, have to have a relationship with the ex. I understand that. And I talk about that with the book as well. But the whole point of the book is that sometimes the person's energy is still in your energy, although the person is not in your environment physically. So a clean break involves looking at everything around you, everything that every people, places, and things that you are involved with, and figuring out, is my energy flowing towards
I think you're freezing a little bit. Hold on one second. I'll put you backstage for a second. I think it's like I'm freezing for a second. So listen, everybody, we're talking to Maiya Katherine today, and we're talking about 8 things to do after you break up. You want to still do these things, is what she specifically is talking about. And we're deep diving into how important it is to have a clean break from the situation. So I'm going to pull her back in right now and hear some more of her theory on why a clean break is important. Here we go. All right.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it was my connection. I don't know something, but we got disconnected a little bit. So social media has been going a little nuts
Oh,
the
that
past couple
happens.
of
It
weeks.
happens on CNN and all these other
Yes,
international
exactly.
broadcasts. So so be it. Oh well, it won't get edited. We good. Go.
Exactly.
Oh, go on.
Thank you. Yes. So, yes, in the book, I covered that sometimes, although your ex is not in your physical energy, your physical space, their energy may still be present in the people, places, and things that you associate with. And sometimes, in order to make a clean break, you have to make tough decisions. I call it tough self love, right? And those decisions may involve parting ways with belongings, parting ways with people, parting ways with mindset, parting ways with social media stuff, old pictures on your phone, because sometimes they say energy flows where attention goes, right? So if your attention, when you come home, the first thing you see is a recliner that your ex used to always sit in, and every time you see it, you think of your ex. Your ex may not be in your home, but they are in your energy, because every time you open your front door, you see it and you think about them. And a lot of times we're not able to make new beginnings in life because we are in the energy of the ex. And sometimes we're like, I don't want to think about them. I don't love them anymore. You may be right about that. But if you see them all the time, or if you have objects in your house or places that you've been to that constantly bring you back into that relationship mentally, emotionally, then they are still in your energy, and those things may be blocking you from new beginnings. So in the book, like I said, I go through practical ways of making a clean break, parting with things and parting with mindset, and even parting with old dreams you had with your ex, but also
Or
parting
what?
with old dreams that you
Oh,
had
old
of,
dreams and
yeah,
goals and
yeah,
stuff.
old goals and dreams. And I even talk about sexual detox, giving your body a break in between to just release everything, because energy gets stored there too.
That's
and
awful.
and finally, I talk about breaking up, one more breakup, the night one, just breaking up with the need to find someone again. The need, you were talking about the need to be in a relationship, that need, just releasing that need and being in the mindfulness in the present moment, and just being grateful
Okay.
and just enjoying being you. And not, I have this thing I say in my social media: don't chase, attract. Don't chase, attract. How to put yourself in the energy of receiving, especially as a woman, as a feminine, as opposed to just going out there and try to get someone and make it happen. So that's all part of having the clean break. But at the end of the day, just like my first book and even my children's book, my goal is always to inspire others to heal and to live their best delicious life. Joy is not about
Well,
just peace.
that's delicious life. Somebody type that in the comment section. Live your best
Del-
delicious life. That's
yeah,
a good word again. Yes.
yeah. It's not just about healing only, but it's about just living abundantly, joyfully, and just deliciously. So at the end of, after reading this book, not only you'll get to heal, and you'll know what the steps to take to release some things, and also how to deal with the stuff that you can't part with, but you will also get a roadmap to how to reconnect with the joy within. And that's really it for me. It's like I one of my best quotes is from Helen Keller: life is either a daring adventure or nothing.
Yes,
And
or
I believe in a daring adventure. So I just want people to just go back to that frequency
yeah.
and just start living life deliciously.
I feel like I'm living a delicious life just having you on today's episode. Just visualizing different things that I can see in my future, things that haven't even yet arrived, but I know that they are soon to come, you know?
You come the moment they come in your
Delicious.
consciousness, they are there. The moment they come in your consciousness, they are there. And I got goosebumps when you said that too. And you know, I hesitated to write this book
Hmm.
because sometimes you feel you have to become removed from the situation like so much in order to start sharing. And I remember in one of the trainings that I am taking, and it says you just have to be maybe a couple steps ahead of somebody that's in that situation. And you write for the person who you used to be, and you don't need to be a full of degrees in emotional healing or whatever to be able to share, because there's somebody out there that's sitting with a garage full of stuff like I right for months and not being able to move on. So yeah, I there is an energy even when we're virtual, right? That can be shared. And so I'm hoping that the healing energy in this book can resonate with people and allow them to start living their delicious life, for sure.
Absolutely. So, listen, 8 things to break up with after you break up, how you're going to heal and release the energy from your old relationships to make room for new beginnings in your life. And the way that you can get a copy of this book is by visiting thedragonfly.com. Is that correct? Or
Yes, it's got release day is tomorrow, so tomorrow is a
that's
big
right.
day. It's on Amazon, and I'm gonna have a little virtual lunch party for it. And but it's definitely available on Amazon, and it's only 80 pages. It's a short book, but it's just very packed. I'm like that. I'm concise, to the point, and clear, and all my books are like that. So it's an
Yes.
easy book to read, and it goes through step by step. And also, think about who in your life can use something like that. I said, this is the end of spring, but we can still do some spring cleaning from the inside out, you know, spring cleaning
Welcome
from the inside out.
spring cleaning. Declutter relationships,
Declutter
declutter
from
your
de-
own mind, because sometimes it's not even about your ex. Sometimes it's about ourselves plaguing ourselves. And the ex
yes,
going on, they living their best life, and you're still
exactly.
thinking about that. What in the world? Let them be
Exactly.
gone out of your thoughts, because they don't
Exactly.
even deserve at that point space in your mental, in
Did
your
Two
in your
things are almost certain about you. Number one, you know people who travel. Of course you do. Everybody travels. It's an $8 trillion industry. It's what people dream about doing. And number two, you probably aren't making the commission. You see, every car rental, every hotel, and every resort pays commissions. They may go to a website or to a traditional travel.
All right, everyone. So if you are interested in learning more about the travel industry, you can also reach out to me as well, trueyougetaway@gmail.com, and you can book some of your travel there as well. So please make sure you take advantage of that, especially if you use all of these different travel sites. Go ahead and go to True You Getaway and be able to learn more. And I'll put that link as well. So when people have children, Maiya, my
yeah.
question to you would be, how can you make as clean of a break as possible when children are involved?
Very, very good question. And I cover that in the book as well, because when it comes to belongings, when it comes to places, people, and things, when you have children, sometimes you cannot part from that.
Right.
And not only that, you may have to see the ex very often because you have to drop off kids, pick up kids, and things like that. And, school activities and graduations. So I go through a few things. For example, the releasing the resentment is huge, because that allows you to establish a parenting or working positive parenting relationship with the ex. And the kids need that. The kids want to see, they may not see mommy and daddy together, or mom and mom, or dad and mom, whatever, your parents together, but they want to see at least cordiality. They want to see respect. They want to see
From both
that
sides.
you're able to work together. So once you go to the step of releasing resentment, I covered that in there, you're able to have that working relationship. But in your home, you may have to keep a minivan, for example. Like if you get divorced, you may have to keep a minivan that all of you used to be together, and now it's just you and the kids. So how do you deal with that? Having the memories every time you see the minivan, or in the house, you might have to keep your house. One of the chapters here is break up with your apartment or space. And sometimes it's doable. Sometimes you're able to just move somewhere else, especially, but sometimes for financial reasons, or maybe you love the neighborhood, you can't. So I go through things like redecorating your house, sometimes just changing the paint color, redecorating, turning furniture around, putting flowers in there. There's so many things you can do to make the space your space. I remember in my experiences, one thing I did that got me, after my divorce, was putting backsplash in my kitchen. I didn't have backsplash in my kitchen. And the kitchen was a place where, I had a lot of memories, from the previous life. And I went to Home Depot and I put backsplash, and it was a very small investment, but it completely changed the look of my kitchen. And then I went and I got white plates to go with everything. And all of a sudden I was happy to my kitchen. So that energy wasn't there anymore. So you could do things like that, And for the car, say you have the minivan, and sometimes water, give it a wash, put new mats, new car mats in there, put a
So
little.
you keep saying energy, and I like that. For me, on my end, it's the spirit, so it's like whatever virtue.
Yeah, spirit, exactly. Oh, when you said spirit, yeah, exactly. It gave me goosebumps when you said spirit. So I use that too. I remember I said it to you, I think earlier. It's like, you have those terms that sometimes, like, I may not use it because I'm like, oh, maybe nobody will get it. But you said spirit. Now now I'm unleashed. Now I'm unleashed. So I'm gonna speak spirit, 100%. So you go in your car, you change the mats, you put a little flower in there, you put a little pillow, something different that makes it yours. And I even talk about like a dress, right? So I have this green dress, flowy dress with flowers on it. And that dress, I love that dress. Love that dress. And I've had that dress before my previous relationship. But the dress happened to be very important to a big part of that previous relationship. So when I broke up with that person, I was like, every time I saw that dress, I remember it because it was a big pivotal event that day. So I'm like, what am I gonna do with this dress? So I had gotten rid of a lot of things. I had donated a lot of things, including a wedding dress that I never got to wear. But in there, I actually, and I talk about it in the book, I actually found a place that consignment place, or a sec, I don't know, I don't know how you call it, vintage or whatever.
But I know it's a consignment shop.
Yeah, it actually provided wedding gowns to future wives of soldiers and people in the military brides. So I went ahead and I found it, and I wrote a beautiful little note on it. And I just wrote something, I made this dress bring you whatever. And that was cathartic for me because that made me, release it with so much love and so much peace. And I was like happy to do it. I think there's a saying, it's in giving that you receive. So I was able to do that. And I go through that in the book of the ways you can donate or sell. Hey, make money from it. If you're gonna get rid of it,
Do whatever you want, but it's
do whatever
yours.
you want. It's but the green dress, like I didn't get to donate. So what did I do? I was like, I had the dress before the relationship. It meant something big in the relationship. But so then I looked at the dress and I'm like, I just don't want to hold it because it reminds me of the person. So I had to be clear as far as why I was holding it. And that's a huge part of the book, getting clear as to why you're holding onto something. And once the answer is rooted on self-love, it's not about, I want to show it off, I want to remember, I want to this. Once it's just because I love the dress, it meant something to me before, then I said, you know what, wear it for something, for another big occasion. And then from that day on, it's going to be the dress that I wore in that new occasion.
Right, for the new
New
scenario.
That's it. And
memory attached to it. I love that.
Exactly. So you basically alchemize that energy and you rewrite. It's almost like rewriting the meaning, like renaming the dress, and of course dry clean it before, so that water is so healing. Like I tell people, sometimes you have the fridge or whatever that you use with it, and sometimes just having a sponge and washing and just say, I like the universe, spirit, or God just cleans it of all the past, and now that is, you speak to it with love and it changes the energy of it. So even water, so yeah, dry clean it and then wear it for something that's amazing. So like that's how you deal with the stuff you were saying for a question that you can't part with. There are ways to do it. The main thing is your intention. What is your intention? And if your intention is rooted on self-love and the present moment and gratitude, then you can shift any energy in your life and you can open up yourself to new beginnings.
So your philosophy is definitely get rid of the gifts that you're.
If you can, like I know, I told you some. There was some heated. Yeah, there was some heated.
Let me say this. Some people, and you guys in the studio audience, chime in. I mean, tell me your thoughts on this. If somebody gave you a gift, it's a gift, right?
It's a gift, and I have still, I still have stuff from this dragonfly. I had bought it when one time we went to a fall festival or something, I think, and I got the dragonfly, but the dragonfly has always been my thing forever, but that I have that, and that was, I bought it from that. So yeah, for me, it's like, as long as when you look at the object, you're like, this was a gift and I'm keeping it because I love it, because it does something for me, it has a function, that's fine. It's not really the object itself, is what is your reason for keeping it. And you got to be honest with yourself. And that's where sometimes the tough self-love is required. You have to be honest with yourself. I'm really keeping that because it was a gift, yes, but it's I love it and it serves me today. But not because, man, it reminds me of them. And maybe they'll come back and they'll say, why did you get rid of it? Right, or maybe somebody sees it. Maybe I'll shoot social media videos and the new girl will see that I still have it, the Louis Vuitton bag. So there's so many reasons.
That's have to be honest. Think about that.
Yeah, so you have to be
taunting the other person who wants it. I know. I'm not interested. I'm not interested in taunting anybody because, again, I'm kind of paranoid about certain things. So when it comes to
like karma,
not at all interested in taunting you for any reason. You got them. You all of you can have whoever you want to have, but don't think I'm the problem, because
out of
the equation.
Exactly. Sometimes we don't think about. I remember a person that just wore the stuff that they got as a gift from the ex, and they would go where the new person is just for them to see they're still wearing the so it's just so if that was the reason, then the energy is not going to be conducive to you moving on and feeling the joy and feeling the inner peace. So it's very important to be honest with yourself and say, why am I keeping the item? But as long as the answer, like I said, is rooted in self-love, it's something that's serving you for who you are now, it's not a way to hold on to the past or to make a statement, then keep it. Keep your Louis Vuitton bag, keep your green dress, keep your dragonfly, keep your whatever. So it's just, you just have to be honest.
You want to keep it. That's my philosophy, is do what you want. It's yours. And if you want to sell it, sell it. If you want to keep it, if you want to gift it to someone else, gift it. I know a couple of things when we're talking just from a transparency perspective, a lot of the pictures from my ex relationship had my son Gabriel in it. The
Oh, yes, yes, yes,
yeah,
yes.
because all of our pictures, for the most part, were family pictures.
Right, right.
So we, it was like mom, dad, and all 5 of the children in the pictures. So now it's like, oh my gosh, you're sitting in the picture with my son that is his live picture. So it's like this weird dynamic there.
Right. Mhm.
What's your thoughts on that? Go ahead. I'm gonna get my own personal
No,
counseling.
no. It's same thing too, because it's like just so somebody's coming to do some things in the house, so I
Oh, that's
apologize in
fine. This
advance.
shows about how we balance life. You
Yes,
balance life in real time. Go ahead.
exactly. I apologize in advance, but yeah, I'm somebody who took a lot of pictures when my kids were little, like, and I had albums, like old fashioned. And maybe the young people don't even know what album is, but albums I had, and I still have. And one of the things I had to deal with is like, what am I gonna do with the albums? Because they have me, they have that person, they have everything in it. So
Right.
how do I deal with that? And sorry, my dog is going crazy.
Don't worry about that. Don't worry
Yeah,
about
but
that.
yeah,
I'll sit right on the show with you.
yeah, thank you. So that was one of the things is, how do I deal with that? And I had to finally get to a point where there are some things that are gonna have all of us. It is what it is, and in it's on me to decide if I should focus on that person in the picture or my kids having a nice time or the memory,
Right.
And for me, if it's about that, then okay, the person can be in the picture, that's fine, but that's really not the main point of it all.
Right.
Exactly.
I love that you said that. You make me feel so much better because especially when you have family and friends and people give you the business. Like if we celebrate one of my children for a birthday or something, where we're all in the picture in some regard. Now, we're not gonna stand beside each other and act glued up, because we're not glued up at all. You get on that end,
exactly.
God bless you, right? But there are times when we are cordial and together in different instances. And I'm like, I'm not gonna not post my picture because that person's in the picture. Are you crazy?
Exactly.
My child is being celebrated here.
Exactly. So. I've seen pictures cut. I've done places and I've seen people with a picture that's cut for them to take the other person out. So I've seen like half pictures, 3/4 pictures. I have to sorry.
I'm gonna take a commercial break, everybody.
Thank you so much.
And we will be right back. Mackenzie, take us to commercial. We'll be right back. Hi. Mackenzie, Hi, I'm Kim Jacobs, the Managing Director of the Charlotte, North Carolina chapter of eWomen Network. I am so excited that you stopped to watch this video. I've got good news for you. You've just discovered an international network of women entrepreneurs who are committed to helping you achieve, succeed, and prosper. We're on a mission here to help 1 million women entrepreneurs each achieve $1 million in annual revenue. Here at eWomen Network, we have a complete success system that supports you every step of the way in building and growing your business. You being here right now is no accident. We're supposed to know about you. We want to meet you to find out how we can help you, as well as learn about what you have to offer. With over 500,000 women connected through 118 chapters across the United States, Canada, Australia, and the United Kingdom, you are never alone. If this is resonating with you, please go to ewomennetwork.com/Charlotte. Notice too my contact information. I invite you to reach out to me and to check out our upcoming in-person and online events. I'm really looking forward to introducing you to our special community. All right, everyone. So make sure you check out eWomenNetwork.com/Charlotte. And also, if any episode of the Kim Jacobs Show has been a blessing in your household and has helped bring better balance to you and your family and different things that you may personally be dealing with as a missing piece of the puzzle, make sure you take a moment to partner with us and be able to provide a donation to Cash App. You can do it through Cash App, $Kimjacobsinc, or through PayPal with paypal.me/Kimjacobsinc, and even at Venmo at The Kim Jacobs Show. So we thank you all for those that are already partnering with us as we provide our daily programming to you all and bringing balance to the world one household at a time. I'm going to bring in our guests back again, Maiya Katherine. You ready to come in, Maiya? All right. Oh, she said, wait 1 minute. All right. So we're going to bring her in a minute. I think she has. Give me a thumbs up when you're ready to come back, okay? All right. All right. But just so you all know, again, she has some stuff happening back at her home being restructured. But we are very excited about you all being here. How do you deal with breakups? Have you personally had some situations and you dealt with it and you were like, whew, that worked well? Tell us what you've personally dealt with that has helped you get to the other side of dealing with the breakup. And I love, let's see, Ernetta, thank you so much for commenting. You said you keep your memories and you can always, cut someone out or place a sticker over their face. Okay. I will say, I did something recently and my friend was cracking up laughing. And I was like, I need this picture the way I want the picture to be. So I was excited about what I did, but then I didn't realize there was anything to it other than just I did what I did. You know, I thought it was what I needed to do to keep what I wanted to keep in the picture. So yeah, okay, great comment. Keep the memories and be creative about putting a sticker or something. Let's see. Ernetta said, good morning to you. She is our Reinvent Yourself Freestyle Friday expert as well. And so if you've gone through any kind of breakup or heartbreak as well, you can definitely connect with Ernetta Caldwell at ErnettaCaldwell.com. And Randall said, speak with love. Just speak with love. Whatever you do, even if you're dealing with a breakup, do it in kindness and in love as best you can. Because again, your children are paying attention to how you're dealing with that significant other. If you're dogging them out behind their backs or you're talking disrespectfully or cursing and things of that nature to the person, your children are witnessing that. And that's not fair for them to have to experience that. Let me know, Maiya, when you're ready and I'll pull you back in.
Hi, I'm Kim Jacobs, the Managing Director of the Charlotte, North Carolina chapter of eWomen.
All right.
Hi, I'm Kim Jacobs.
It's something happening on the thing. It keeps playing by itself. So that's a StreamYard issue because we're not even pushing any buttons. And Mackenzie's backstage. She's like, I'm not doing anything. I'm like, I know you are great. So I know it's not me or you. It's something going on in the platform. So,
Thank you so much. Thank you for your patience. They're testing the fire alarm and they just switched it so that they're coming back in like 10-15 minutes. So I don't know.
No problem. So how do you tell people that you cannot speak to them anymore because they are attached to your ex? Isn't that like abandoning your friends? Because I've heard people talk about that too.
I know. So that's another big issue, and that caused a lot of heated debates because I started talking about the book before I published it. And you know, it may feel a little hard because sometimes you have friends that are friends of the couple, you know, they are friends that became your friends or friends that you made by visiting places, and they were invested in the couple. So then part of making a clean break is to not force yourself to be in an environment that constantly reminds you of the ex. And some people think it is a sign of strength to be able to see the ex and have people talk about him and, you know, without that bothering you. They feel like it's a sign of strength. And when they don't feel that, they force themselves to be in situations just to say, I'm over them. You know, I can be here. I can see them. I can go. And in the book, I have a whole section that says, you don't have to prove that you're strong to anyone.
Anything to anybody.
You don't have to prove that you're strong to anyone, and not being around that energy doesn't show that you're weak either.
That's right.
It doesn't. is just protecting your peace and having your boundaries and just getting your energy ready for new beginnings, out with the old, in with the new. And sometimes it's hard when we have to tell people, I can't really be your friend. And a lot of times you don't even get to say that. You just stop calling someone. But when you call someone, every time they talk about it, they're like, oh my God, your ex is miserable without you, or I really liked you guys together, or remember when we did this. Is that something that's good for your own emotional healing? Is that something that's good for you moving on? So part of the stuff, self-love, is to say that. And it's nice, to give people a heads up. Listen, I'm working on myself right now, and I'm just gonna lay low for a little while. So you may not hear from me. Or if you want to be raw, you could say, listen, I'm really trying to cleanse myself of the energy of the past so I could move on. And I can't do that with, conversation about the ex all the time. So I think at this point, we're gonna just not talk that much or not talk at all. And if our paths cross again, then they'll cross again. So it's that guilt we have to release, the guilt of doing what we need to do to protect our peace. We should never feel guilty of doing anything to protect our peace. Even family, even our own family members that love the ex, and they're like, oh my God, I wish you guys came back together. Oh my God, And, even your own family, you have to be able to put up boundaries with them with love, but firmly, that, when we see each other, can you just not always bring the ex up, because I'm trying to heal here. I'm trying to heal.
Right. I'm trying to heal here.
Right. Heal here. Help a sister out, So it's just like, but yeah, we don't have to apologize for what we need to do to keep our peace. And if that involves not speaking to people, then it is what it is. I know that's not the way that you like, but then that's what it is. And like I said, it's as long as if we can, the more we can do it with openness, the better. We'll just not catch people off guard. But sometimes you just have to just close the door, and sometimes it is what it is. But as long as your intention is not malicious, it's just based on self-peace, then whatever you do is what you have to do.
Well, I know I can tell you in one example recently in my scenario is I had the opportunity, because I love my mother-in-law. I love her, and I was married for 28 years, together for 34, and all of this stuff. So you can't just cut, sever, and just end everything. Like, that's not how it works. If somebody is somebody genuinely love, like you love your own family type of thing.
Yes.
So what I had to do slightly different is protect my own space, knowing that if I'm going to certain events that other people are going to be present that I may not want to be exposed to, then I just will let maybe my children go to that event and I don't go. And I'll say I'm just not interested in being in certain weird predicaments and situations if I don't choose to be a part of it. But if I want to go, then I'll go. It's my choice. Is the point. If I'm in my, which I usually am, then I'll go. And if I want to, and if I don't, because I want to safeguard, because of whatever reasons I choose to safeguard myself, then I don't have to feel guilty about that either. So I say that to say to any of you all that are experiencing any breakups, I'm definitely not the expert at this right now, because I've gone through the midst of it myself. I just encourage you to. Oh yeah, I know you got that. I encourage you to know that you don't have to feel guilty or be guilt tripped because you're not participating in things that you think will put you in an awkward position. Safeguard yourself, safeguard your mental space, safeguard your physical possibility of anything happening, because you don't know what people are capable of doing. I don't. So I just be like, I'm good. All right. It's all good. All right. Any closing comments or anything that you didn't say that you want to say? Let people know where they can get the book again.
Well, yes, thank you so much. And thank you for being patient with me today with this unexpected thing, but it's just the schedule worked out that was set for a long time ago, so I couldn't change that. But thank you so much for having me. And I will say, if I needed to add anything, which the questions were so amazing. I'm just like, there's nothing really to add. But if I wanted to say one more thing, one of the last breakups I have in there, I have the 8 breakups. One of them is breaking up with the need to find a relationship again. And I didn't say the dream of it, I didn't say the thought of it, but the need. And I use the word need for a reason, is because sometimes we feel that, we heal, we're good, and we won't be complete or whole or happy if we don't have somebody else. And sometimes, spirit, you know, creates the opportunity for us to get to know ourselves a little better, and
Yes.
to fall back in love with ourselves, back in love with life. And I say, love on you, love on life, love on your pets, your children, just love on life, And sometimes we miss that opportunity because we're so focused on what we don't have, a relationship that we become so obsessed with it, then we don't enjoy what we have. We're not grateful for what we have, and we miss the point, the gifts of isolation. Sometimes the gifts of being able to look at ourselves in the mirror and say, hey you.
Yeah,
I haven't really.
I was doing my hair today. I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I
Hey
didn't
you.
think my hair was this full because I usually have it so scrunched up with little,
Yeah.
product that I put in on my natural curly hair. But anyway, yeah,
Exactly.
I enjoyed myself. I was like cutting my edges and enjoying it.
Exactly.
I was like, oh, okay, you doing it, you doing it.
And sometimes how often sometimes we don't do that when we're in relationships, like we forget. So sometimes those little pauses in between in life, those little breakups, I'm not saying they happen for that, but that's one thing you can get out of this, is just remembering remembering life, remembering nature. So the gifts of the isolation, the gifts of the time alone. Time alone is not lonely. Alone, it doesn't mean lonely, so just be grateful for what you can get from that time in between, and release the need for the relationship. Now, yes, be clear about what you want, the type of person, the type of qualities that you want. You could go with that, because the spirit, the universe, God has to know what you want so he could deliver.
You have to say what you want, right?
Exactly. So it's good to have that idea and to want that, but not to the point where you need it. And so once you let go of that, then you could be in the present moment. Mindfulness. I've been doing a lot of breath work and mindfulness work lately. So you could be in the present moment, and then you could find things to be grateful for. I think it's Oprah that says, in this moment, I am well. In this moment, I am well. Something like that. In this moment, I am well.
This moment, I am
I am
well.
well.
Write that, guys, in the comment section.
In this moment, I am well. Thank you, Oprah. But in this moment, I am well. So it brings your attention back to the present moment. So yes, that's the last little breakup I'll add, is just release that need. But yes, be clear about what you want, and start preparing for it, but don't forget to be in the present moment and just be grateful for the deliciousness that's already here now.
And then once you do that, you've been blessed with,
that's already there now. So we'll see. The book started with a U-Haul trip that I had to make to get my stuff, and it was one of the worst trips of my life. I didn't tell anyone. I had just me and my dog. I didn't tell my kids I was going. They know I was going somewhere around that week, but not that day. My mom, nobody knew. And I had to make that trip, and I said, look at me, like packing my entire life. It's not for my kids, of course, but pack my entire dream with that person in a van, right? In this box was my entire. But then it finished with it's a little story in the beginning, a story in the end, and it's like she got a U-Haul, and this time she got a U-Haul to move into her dream farmhouse with acreage and horses and a pond, which is my dream. I want acreage, I want horses. I just don't really want to see neighbors, but I want retired race horses. That's like, I want to have a sanctuary for retired racehorses, because a lot of times, like after racing, they just discard them, and that just breaks my heart. So I want to have that little sanctuary. I want to have dogs and stuff like that, and I want to have a greenhouse and grow my food. But it ends with her getting.
You know, you have 10 pair of black tights.
Yeah.
Fun fact: you got 10 pair of
I
black.
do. I wear that's
farmhouse and pond.
Exactly, with my black ties. I wear that's basically what I wear almost to everything. I have, and in the tag, I have to put sleep on the ones I sleep with, and I have to put out with the ones I go out with, so I don't mix them up, because the ones I sleep with are like, less fresh. They're not like I wear them more often, so I have to put sleep and I have to put the other one, and I keep the nicer one for the one I go out with. So, but yeah, it finishes with that, and that's really what I want people at the end of the book to get, is that hopeful attitude that everything can come full circle when you put self-love first, inner peace first, faith in the spirit, the universe, God, and faith in yourself. Anything else, once those 4 pillars are down, everything else you could
Works
just
itself out. It always
works itself out. All is well in this moment. I am well.
Well, thank you so much for being our special guest today, Maiya Katherine, author of 8 Things to Break Up With After Your Breakup. And just grab a copy of this book. It's being released tomorrow. Go to bluedragonflylife.com. You can also check her out on the podcast that she oversees each week, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Alchemize It All, and it's on Apple, Spotify, Amazon Music, and Audible, and all of your listening devices. So check out Alchemize It All. All right, thank you so much for being our guest today.
Thank you so much, Kim. And I was just saying, guys, check out the Kim Jacobs Show on all my social media today. I put all her information, how you can support the YouTube channel, and she has an amazing course on how to have your own platform. So please check that out. But this is my second time here, and every time I've been here, I felt loved, I felt welcomed, I felt just great. The energy is unbelievable. And like I said, you alchemize your own tragedy and made it into this, and you're giving people a chance to share their wisdom with the world, and may you be blessed for that always. But it is an honor for me to be here, and I'm so grateful. So thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you in the studio audience too. The show would be nothing without you all. Thank you, Mackenzie backstage, and Cassandra on my team as well. And just thank you all. I love all of you all. Thank you, Mama. My mama in the studio audience too. So, hey, Mom. All right, everybody. God bless you. Love you all, and have a great rest of your day. See you tomorrow at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on the Kim Jacobs Show. Bye-bye. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of the Kim Jacobs Show, and for being in the virtual studio audience. Your presence truly does make a difference, and I look forward to you bringing your friends and family to join you in the virtual studio audience Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I look forward to seeing you.